Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Jai Sri Ram. Welcome to our next episode in our complete reading of Sri Valmiki Ramayana. By the time we ended our last episode, we saw that Viswamitra Mharshi has already asked Dasharatha to send Sri RamaChandra with him. Dasharatha was dilly-dallying, he was not really interested in sending, but then Vasishtha Maharshi interferes and tells him the strengths of Viswamitra Maharshi. Once Dasharatha gets to know what Viswamitra Maharshi is really and his strengths really, then the king Dasharatha himself accepts to send Sri RamaChandra along with Viswamitra Maharshi. So once he got convinced completely, Dasharatha Maharaja now goes to the Antapura and he brings Sri RamaChandra along with him. So when he goes to Antapura, Tatha Vasiste Bravati Raja Dasharatha Swayam Prahushtabadano Ramam Ajuhavasa Lakshmanam. So Dasharatha was extremely happy. He went to the Antapura to bring Lakshmana and Sri RamaChandra. Here, one thing that's interesting is Vishwamitra has never asked for Lakshmana to be brought out. But then the beauty of this avatara, of Sri Rama's avatara is, in this particular avatar of Mahavishnu, you always have Lakshmana. I mean to say, Sri Ramachandra was not there with Sitama, Sri Ramachandra was not there with Dasharatha, but you won't find Sri Ramachandra without Lakshmana at any point of time in the entire Itihasa. So, Lakshmana, he would never leave the side of Sri Rama. So both of them came out. How did they come out? The news went to the Antapura that Dasharatha Maharaja is coming and he is going to send Sri Ramachandra and Lakshmana along with Rishi Vishwamitra. Now, while the father had so many doubts in sending, the mother did not. She quickly gave the Raksha. Raksha is in the sense they read a mantra and say that, because I have read this, you will be saved from all sorts of wild animal attacks and all. And they put a Raksha on the, it's not a physical thing that they put, they just put it on both the arms and they say this is how they are going to protect you. Then they put a tilak and they send out. So that's putting Raksha. So she put Raksha, Kausalyamma put Raksha and sent out Sri Ramachandra. Similarly, Sumitra Ma would have put out Raksha and sent Lakshmana. Dasharatha himself, Sri Ramachandra near to him, he kissed on Sri Ramachandra's forehead. He smelled the beautiful aroma from Sri Ramachandra's air, and then he sent Sri Ramachandra along with Vishwamitra saying that, hey Sri Rama, from now on you are going to the forest to assist this Rishi. Kindly follow the orders of that Rishi and whatever he says, please do that. Saying this, he sent. Now, Vishwamitra was walking ahead. Behind him, Sri Ramachandra was walking, and behind Sri Ramachandra, Lakshmana was walking. And then something very, very interesting happened in the skies. What happened? Pushpavrushtir Mahatya Siddevadundubhin Nisvanaihi Shankadundubhin Nirghoshaha Prayatetu Mahatmani. So, all of a sudden, from the skies, the Devatas, they did Pushpavrushti. The flowers came from the skies and they were falling on Sri Ramachandra, Vishwamitra and Lakshmana. And all Devatas, they were playing musical instruments. The Devadundubhi was being played and the signal was that something good and great is happening. So a teacher is walking or a Rishi is walking, behind him two kids are walking, or because I'm calling them kids because in fact in the Srimad Ramayana, Marija says that when Sri Ramachandra hit me for the first time in his life, he was only 12-year-old boy. If you take that, now Sri Rama and Lakshmana are just 12-year-old boys. Even Dasharatha was saying that they have not even reached 16. So even when you are 12-year-old, you have not reached 16, right? So that way we can still take that the age is still 12. That's one pramana that we get from Ramayana. I'm not saying this is the only pramana, but then that's still a pramana that we can take from Srimad Ramayana. So when we look at it that way, the two kids were walking, then why are the Devatas doing Pushpavrishti? Because going behind a teacher, walking behind a teacher and accepting that you would follow their path is considered one of the greatest things in Sanatana Dharma. Why it's one of the greatest things? Because See, the parents give us birth. The teacher will give us knowledge through which we will not take birth again. So here, Vishwamitra, he is now assuming the role of an acharya. That's what is going to happen. You would see that going forward. And Vishwamitra is now going to take Sri RamaChandra. So it's like a, see, not everything is taught in the classroom, right? Sometimes you learn a lot during a field trip where you apply a lot of things that you have learned. So Sri RamaChandra is now going on such a trip, and he is going to learn a lot in this. And because Devatas see into the future, they said, yes, this is one of the greatest occasions that is happening. In the Telugu states, in the Telugu speaking areas, there is a, I mean, now people are calling it a superstition, but there was a belief that, if they see a single Brahmin walking on the street, and if he is going to, and when you're stepping out of your house, if you're going to see a single Brahmin on the street, they consider it as a bad omen and they go in. You know why? It's not that they considered Brahmins as bad omen there. In the olden days, Brahmins were teachers, and the bad omen was that as a teacher is going out alone, which means he can give knowledge, but there is no Shishya who is following him to take that knowledge. Hence, that's a bad omen. That's why it was considered as a bad omen particularly in the Telugu speaking regions of this country. Well, that's a diversion. But now let's get back. So all three of them were walking, and they walked for 1.5 yojanas. And after they have walked for 1.5 yojanas, they have reached the river front of Sarayu. Now, when I say river front, it's basically like a river bank actually. So there they rested, all of them rested, and then Vishwamitra said, you sit down here, hey Ramachandra, and take some water from the river. So they are on the south bank of the Sarayu river now. He said, you sit on these banks, take some water, because you are near a river, so getting clean water is easy. So he asked them to take some clean water into their hands. And here Vishwamitra is giving something to Sri Ramachandra. So what did Vishwamitra say? You take these two mantras from me, and when you take these two mantras, they give you two vidyas, and these two vidyas will ensure that you will not be hungry and you will never feel thirsty as long as you are doing the japa of these mantras, and as long as you have once invoked these mantras, you will never feel thirsty. Okay, that's what he's saying. And saying this, he gave two mantras. One is Bala and the other one is Atibala. Now, here in Ramayana, one thing that we need to understand is it's not explicitly told that it is given to Lakshmana. The point is, if it is given to Sri Ramachandra immediately learns it, he imbibes it, and then he quickly shares it with Lakshmana also, so that Lakshmana also gets to know all of that. So that's how we need to understand. Both the brothers, they took the mantras, they understood the mantras, and they imbibed them, the Bala and Atibala that were given to them. Okay. After that, they walked for a long time, and then finally they reached at the river bank. Only, I mean, they were walking on the bank for some time, and there in the night, they finally decided to take some rest, and they took the rest. They slept there in the night till one day before, or till one night before. Sri Ramachandra was sleeping in the comforts of the palace. The next evening, he was sleeping on the banks of the Sarayu river, and he never complained. He took both of them in the same way. Isn't it the way we overcome all the dvandvas in life? Dvandvas are, sukha and dukkha, happiness, unhappiness. You get something, you lose something. So all these are dvandvas, day and night. So can we stay in the same state in the dvandva? That's a very tough thing, because comfort, discomfort, that's a dvandva. And Sri Ramachandra is giving an example that in his first journey out, he's showing that he has control over these dvandvas. Till the night before, he was sleeping in the comforts. Now he is on the banks of a river, but still he is happy and he is not complaining. The next morning, we all know this wonderful shloka. Anyone who has heard Venkateshwar Suprabhatam at least once in their lives would have known this sloka. Viswamitra was waking up Sri Ramachandra, and how did he wake up? Kausalya Supraja Ram Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Narasardula Kartavyam Daivamahnikam. So, what is Viswamitra Mharshi saying? Hey, son of Kausalya, hey, good son of Kausalya, Supraja, hey Ramachandra, wake up. Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate. For all the Hindus, one extremely important thing that we all ought to do is the Pratahkala Sandhya Vandana. So, and it's forbidden for most of us to sleep when the sun is rising or when the sun is setting. So Vishwamitra is saying, the east is turning crimson red. Quickly wake up so that you'll have to go and do your Sandhya Vandana. Okay. Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate. The Sandhya time is coming up. Uttishta Narasardula. I mean, Shardula is one meaning of Shardula is a tiger. So you're like a tiger among men. Wake up. Uttishta Narasardula means you are a good person. You are a great person among normal people. Wake up. Uttishta Narasardula. Kartavyam Daivamahnikam. So you have a duty towards the gods. Kartavyam Daivamahnikam. Okay, this is the sloka that was used to wake up Sri Ramachandra. It's a fantastic sloka here. Now, why did he say Kausalya Supraja and why he did not say Dasharatha Supraja was a big discussion among the scholars, and one wonderful explanation. I'm sharing this because these are sort of small things that bring a smile out of us when we are talking. So one wonderful commentator commented on this saying, see, Dasharatha had a lot of qualms, a lot of queries. He dilly-dallied, he did not accept so quickly. When Vishwamitra wanted Sri Ramachandra to be sent along with him, right? But did Kausalya Ma do all that? The moment she got to know, she immediately put the Raksha and sent. Hence, Vishwamitra said, you are, as far as I am concerned, you are Kausalya's son only, because it took me a lot of time to convince your father, but you know what? I did not even need to convince your mother. She trusted me and she sent you. Hence, I'll call you as Kausalya's Suputra only. That's one, a small explanation that brings out a smile out of us. Okay, and there is another big reason why Sri Ramachandra here is referred to as Kausalya Supraja, because it was she who bore him in the womb for almost 12 months, right? I told at that point of time, right? One is that point. Two, it was she who killed the horse and who stayed with who slept beside that horse in that night, right? So that also we got to see. So it was your mom who struggled a lot for this. Hence, you are Kausalya Supraja for me. So Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Narashardula Kartavyam Daivamahnikam. And lastly, in Sanatana Dharma, you don't wake up anyone without telling the cause as to why you are waking them up. Okay, this is a very important thing. So Viswamitra Mharshi followed that, and he said, Kartavyam Daivamahnikam, you have got a duty which is a divine duty which you are supposed to perform, not just for the gods. Now, when you extrapolate the meaning, you can also say that, Daivamahnikam Kartavyam, this essentially means that you are going to, you are born to kill all the Rakshasas, so you have to wake up, go and kill that. But that's an extrapolation. But here it's as simple as saying you have got a duty towards the gods, which is waking up, going, doing your Sandhya Vandana, okay, and other activities, and you have got to walk, and you have got to finish today's journey, and then we'll be one step closer to we doing the Yajna and you saving us from Maricha and Subahu. So that's a normal meaning there. Well, I never expected such small amount of story to take almost 15-16 minutes. We'll end this episode here, and in the next episode we'll see where Sri Ramachandra Vishwamitra will go. Om Tat Sat. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Sarvam Satati Sasmara Swam Charnaravindarpणमस्तु. Swasti. Om Tat Sat. Swasti.